Question is the motion be agreed to, and I call the member for Werriwa.
That kind of professional spin from people who've only worked in electoral offices, whether it's for David Clark MLC or the member for Parramatta, is the kind of politics that was rejected in the weekend in Victoria. The kind of lecture from the previous speaker about getting out in the real world. Well, the real world was branch stacking for the Liberal Party with David Clark for a number of years. The situation here, he says that it's too ambitious, it's too costly, etc. So the solution to an ambitious program is to totally abolish it and do nothing. And we've got a situation here where a program of $2.5 billion up till 2018 has been abandoned, $950 million slashed from it, coincidentally, in the same week that they destroyed the South Australian automobile industry. Now, they say that we can get some statistics that indicate a significant number of people who went through trade training colleges, for instance, did not receive employment in the sector that they tried to go into. Now look, that kind of statistic can be produced about virtually every program and scheme, that people seek in life to go down a particular road, the availability of jobs in that particular occupation not there. But let's not run away from the crucial factor as to why people might not be getting employment. If John Howard is emulated by the current Prime Minister in many fashions, it hasn't been too successful. But in regards to unemployment, the current Prime Minister has been very successful because he's lifted youth unemployment to around 14%, figures not seen for quite some time. And if you look at the suburbs in my electorate, such as Claymore, Minto, Casula and Ingleburn, they are quite distant from the CBD. They are lacking in cross-city transport. They would have higher unemployment, both general and youth unemployment, than the rest of Sydney. Now, rather than an outcome such as Mount Carmel in my electorate, where the former minister, before the elections, went out there and opened a facility which is in the catering sector with new kitchens, which has employment dealings with the Campbelltown Catholic Club, which has a career path for people who don't want to go to university, rather than have the celebration by the student body, the teachers and the parents about that future, what they've decided is to scrap the whole scheme, and a significant number of schools in my electorate, such as Casula High School, Lanier, Robert Townsend, Sarah Redfern, Soule College, etc., which are in areas of high unemployment, worsened, as I say, by the current government's performance, they won't have that future. Now, we've heard, and this is part of a broader pattern, of course. We recently had the NatSam figures produced in regards to overall budget changes in this country. And I would remind you that the current Prime Minister has said that NatSam is highly reliable, it is credible, it can be believed. It made the point that the Werriwa electorate, where we're talking about the scrapping of these trade training schemes, it had a 0.859 correlation in regards to how the employment was negatively affecting, the budget was negatively affecting the electorate. I'd remind you that there are only 7 electorates out of 150 in the whole country with ratings over 0.7, so we're 0.859, the third worst in the country. So we've got a situation where the overall budget hurts my electorate. We've got a situation where they've changed the rules on New Start and other schemes for young unemployed people. They've got a situation where Youth Connections has been abolished, partnership brokers are basically out the door, and National Careers Advisory Committee has also been scrapped. So an abolition of a scheme they said was too ambitious, trying too hard, basically was not going to be accomplished. Their situation is to force unemployed young people onto no payments for 6-month periods, to make it more difficult for people in my electorate to get to university through giving a free-for-all to the private sector for universities to basically increase the fees to levels that were not heretofore before seen, and to, in a way, undermine regional universities such as Western Sydney. So I say that when we look at a situation where 510 announcements have been made before the last election, where half the schools were already operating, the others were in either design or a construction phase, that this is a scheme that should not have been condemned. It should not have been put on the altar of budgetary reform, as they'd put it. This is a situation where people in my electorate are going to be denied options to complete these courses in high school, to give themselves a future career, and I condemn very strongly the measures of the government.